Once upon a time in ancient India, there lived a young monk named Nanda, who had joined the monastery under the guidance of the Buddha himself. Nanda was no ordinary monk. He was the Buddha's half-brother and had been born into a life of privilege and comfort. Despite his noble family background and his dedication to Buddhist practices, Nanda was deeply troubled by his attachments to worldly pleasures, especially his yearning for a beautiful woman he had been engaged to before taking his vows. This attachment grew like a thorn in his heart, pulling him back toward a life of desire and longing, even as he meditated and lived among the other monks. Nanda tried his best to fight his feelings. He knew the teachings. The root of suffering was attachment, and desire was a dangerous fire. Yet, as much as he tried to distance himself from thoughts of his fiancée, his heart was restless, and he found himself distracted by the beauty of women he would occasionally see when they came to the monastery with their families. Over time, his struggle became apparent to others. The Buddha, always wise and compassionate, saw his struggle and sought a way to help him find freedom. One day, as Nanda prepared for his daily meditation, the Buddha approached him and asked, "Nanda, would you be willing to come with me to the heavens for a while?" Surprised and honored by the request, Nanda nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, Blessed One, I would." The Buddha smiled and began to lead Nanda, passing through realms beyond human comprehension, until they arrived at the celestial heavens. As they walked, Nanda's eyes widened at the sights before him. The splendor of the celestial gardens, with golden trees and flowers that shimmered like jewels, filled him with wonder. The air was alive with sweet fragrances, and there was a serene music that seemed to flow from the very heart of the heavens. But it was not the gardens or the music that captured Nanda's attention most. It was the celestial beings themselves. As he looked around, Nanda noticed a group of heavenly maidens, whose beauty surpassed anything he had seen on earth. Their faces glowed with a pure, radiant light, and their movements were as graceful as flowing water. He was overwhelmed, entranced by their beauty, and felt his heart racing in a way he had not known before. Seeing the wonder and attraction in Nanda's eyes, the Buddha turned to him and asked, "What do you think, Nanda? How does their beauty compare to that of the women on earth, even to that of your beloved fiancée?" Nanda was speechless. "There is no comparison," he whispered. "These maidens are far more beautiful, like bright stars next to the pale glow of candles." The Buddha nodded knowingly. "So, would you be willing to continue on the path and renounce earthly attachments if I promised that, after you attain enlightenment, you would be reborn here and enjoy the company of these celestial maidens?" Without hesitation, Nanda agreed. His heart was filled with a desire to experience such heavenly pleasure, and he was ready to put all his earthly desires aside to attain this divine reward. But the Buddha had other plans for Nanda's growth. Over the next few weeks, he guided Nanda through deeper levels of meditation and mindfulness. Each day, Nanda's heart softened and grew more attuned to the teachings of non-attachment, wisdom, and compassion. Slowly, his desires began to loosen their hold on him. He started to feel the peace that came from freedom, not freedom from suffering in exchange for pleasure, but a freedom that went beyond pleasure itself. Then, one day, the Buddha took him on another journey, not to the heavens, but this time to the lower realms. They arrived in a dark, foreboding place where suffering was all-pervading, and Nanda could hear cries of despair and see writhing figures trapped in the fires of their own regrets and desires. As they continued their journey, they came upon a few half-burnt monkeys, struggling and in great pain. Puzzled, Nanda turned to the Buddha and asked, "Blessed One, who are these monkeys, and why are they suffering like this?" The Buddha explained, "These monkeys are here due to the karma of their desires and attachments. But do you not remember, Nanda? These suffering creatures were once humans who had desired worldly pleasures above all else. This fate is also what awaits those who live their lives attached to fleeting beauty, ignorant of the true nature of things." The impact of the Buddha's words hit Nanda deeply. Seeing the suffering caused by attachment and understanding that even beauty fades, he realized that true happiness could never be rooted in things that are impermanent. For the first time, he understood that his own desires, no matter how powerful they seemed, were simply illusions, like dreams that vanished in the morning light. As Nanda and the Buddha returned to the monastery, Nanda found his heart was lighter, clearer. His obsession with beauty and earthly pleasures dissolved, replaced by a profound understanding of the freedom that comes from true detachment. He continued his practice with new insight and eventually attained enlightenment, freed from the chains of desire that had once bound him. The Buddha's wisdom had led him to see that the path to peace wasn't through chasing pleasure or beauty, but in recognizing the impermanence of all things and resting in the eternal calm within. Nanda's transformation was profound. As he looked back on his journey, he realized that his true liberation didn't come from the promise of heaven or the fear of hell. It came from within. He had learned that peace was not to be found in the fleeting pleasures of the world, but in the depths of his own mind, free from the grasp of desire. With newfound clarity, he thanked the Buddha, who had guided him not with rebuke, but with wisdom, showing him the nature of true freedom. Nanda's heart was now steady, unmoved by either earthly or celestial charms, for he had tasted the peace that lay beyond desire. In the quiet of the monastery, Nanda became a beacon for others, embodying the very truth he had come to know. That happiness does not lie in the world outside, but in the stillness within. He had discovered the path to liberation, and from that day forward, he walked it with a serene, unwavering heart. If you enjoyed this story and found some wisdom in it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join us for more stories that inspire, uplift, and bring ancient teachings to life. And if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need a little extra peace today. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.